The earth trembles. A metallic roar echoes through the air. From the smoke and dust, a steel behemoth emerges. It is a tank, a weapon unlike any seen before. World War II, a new era of warfare. Tanks, with their thundering tracks and devastating firepower, redefined the battlefield. The early tanks were rudimentary, slow, clunky, prone to breakdowns. But they carried a promise of overwhelming force and victory. The Germans were the first to grasp the true potential of tanks. Their panzer divisions, spearheaded by the legendary Panzer IV, would become a symbol of German military might. These metal monsters, clanking across the battlefields, instilled fear in the hearts of their enemies. The deafening roar of their engines, the earth-shaking rumble of their tracks, the searing blast of their cannons. Tank warfare was brutal, chaotic, and unforgiving. It was a clash of steel and fire, a dance of death played out on a grand scale, and inside these steel beasts, young men faced the horrors of war. Confined within the cramped, hot, and noisy interiors, they fought for their lives and their countries. The air thick with the smell of oil and cordite, the constant fear of enemy fire, the camaraderie forged in the crucible of combat. These were the tank crews, the men who rode the thunder on tracks. Early tank tactics were still in their infancy. The British pioneers of tank warfare in World War I favoured a slow, methodical approach. Their tanks, designed to break through enemy trenches, were often slow and cumbersome, such as the Churchill Mark IV. The French, on the other hand, envisioned tanks as mobile artillery, such as the Char B1. Equipped with a 75mm cannon and later a 40mm cannon in a turret was added to make it a main battle tank and support infantry advances. German tank commanders, however, embraced a revolutionary concept: Blitzkrieg. This lightning war doctrine emphasized speed, surprise, and overwhelming force. Panzer divisions, supported by dive bombers and mobile infantry, would punch through enemy lines, creating chaos and disarray. The early successes of Blitzkrieg stunned the world. Poland, Denmark, Norway, and France all fell victim to the German onslaught. The Battle of France in 1940 showcased the devastating effectiveness of Blitzkrieg. German panzer divisions, spearheaded by the nimble Panzer III and the powerful Panzer IV, outmaneuvered and overwhelmed the Allied forces. The French, with their outdated tanks and static defences, were simply unable to cope with the speed and aggression of the German attack. The fall of France sent shockwaves through the Allied nations. It was a stark demonstration of the power of tank warfare in modern conflict. The lessons learned from the early campaigns of World War II would shape tank tactics for decades to come. Blitzkrieg was more than just a military tactic. It was a symphony of speed and steel, a carefully orchestrated ballet of destruction. At the heart of this symphony were the panzer divisions. These armoured spearheads were composed of tanks, motorized infantry, and self-propelled artillery, were the tip of the German sword. The Panzer IV, armed with a 75mm cannon and boasting impressive mobility, became the workhorse of the German army. Its versatility and reliability made it a formidable opponent on the battlefields of Europe and North Africa. The lighter Panzer III, equipped with a 50mm cannon, served as a reconnaissance vehicle, hunting down enemy armor. The key to Blitzkrieg's success was the seamless coordination of different units. Dive bombers, like the feared Junkers Ju-87 Stuka, would soften up enemy defenses with pinpoint bombing runs. Then, the panzers would strike, exploiting gaps created by the air attacks. Motorized infantry followed closely behind, mopping up resistance forces and consolidating gains. This relentless assault, characterized by rapid movement and overwhelming firepower, proved highly effective in the early years of the war. The Allied forces, caught off guard by the speed and ferocity of the German attacks, struggled to mount an effective defense. The Eastern Front, a vast, unforgiving landscape. Here, the German army faced its toughest opponent yet, the Soviet Union. The Battle of Kursk, In the summer of 1943, it was the ultimate clash of titans, a tank battle of unprecedented scale and ferocity. The Soviets, having learned from their early defeats, had developed their own formidable tank force. The T-34, equipped with its sloped armor and powerful 76.2mm gun and wide tracks, was a technological marvel. Its combination of firepower, mobility and ruggedness made it a fearsome adversary for the German panzers. The Germans, fielding their newest tank, the Panther, hoped to regain the initiative on the Eastern Front. The Panther, equipped with its high-velocity 75mm cannon and heavily sloped armor, was designed to outclass the T-34. However, the Panther's rushed development resulted in mechanical problems that hampered its effectiveness. At Kursk, thousands of tanks clashed in a maelstrom of steel and fire. The battle raged for weeks, with neither side able to gain a decisive advantage. The German offensive, blunted by fierce Soviet resistance and mechanical failures, eventually faltered. Kursk marked a turning point in the war, signaling the decline of German military might. In the midst of this mechanized maelstrom, individual acts of heroism and skill shone through. Tank commanders like Michael Wittmann of the German Waffen-SS became legends. Wittmann, known for his tactical brilliance and daring attributes, achieved astonishing kill counts in his Tiger tank. On the Allied side, names like Lafayette G. Poole of the US Army and Sidney Radley Walters of the Canadian Army became synonymous with bravery. These tank aces, operating their armored vehicles with skill and daring, achieved remarkable feats of arms. They stalked their prey across the battlefields, their tanks becoming extensions of their will, and their stories passed down through the ranks, inspiring awe and respect from their comrades. They were the knights of the modern age, riding their steel steeds into battle. Their exploits, often recounted with a mix of admiration and fear, becoming part of the legends of tank warfare. These men, fighting in the cramped confines of their tanks, faced death on a daily basis. They witnessed the horrors of war firsthand. They lost friends and comrades, yet they continued to fight, driven by duty, courage, and a belief in their cause. World War II witnessed a rapid evolution of tank technology. The early tanks, slow and unreliable, gave way to faster, more heavily armed and armored machines. The Germans are initially leading the way with their Panzer III and IV. They later introduced the Panther and Tiger. The Tiger, equipped with the infamous 8.8 centimeters KWK 36 high-velocity cannon that fired an 88mm projectile at targets over 1,100 meters. Not only could it kill with its gun, but also strike fear in its enemies with its fearsome looks. These tanks were designed to counter the ever-growing Soviet threat. The Soviets, in turn, responded with the T-34-85, an upgraded version of the T-34, boasting a more powerful 85mm cannon. The Americans, joining the war later, fielded the Sherman tank, a reliable and versatile machine that became a mainstay of the Allied armies. Tank design became a constant race for supremacy. Armor was thickened, guns grew larger, engines became more powerful. Each nation sought to outdo the other, pushing the boundaries of technology in the crucible of war. The tanks, once crude and cumbersome, evolved into sophisticated weapons platforms. Their crews, trained to operate these complex machines, became integral parts of the tank's effectiveness. The technological advancements of World War II laid the foundation for modern tank design. The lessons learned in tank battles across Europe and North Africa would shape the development of armored vehicles for decades to come. As the war ended, the tanks that had once dominated the battlefields fell silent. Their guns, once thundering instruments of destruction, now stood silent. The battlefields, scarred by their passage, slowly began to heal. The tanks, symbols of a bygone era of warfare, were relegated to museums and history books, but their legacy lived on. The tactics developed during World War II, the lessons learned in the heat of battle, continued to influence military thinking. The evolution of tank design, spurred by the demands of the war, laid the groundwork for the development of modern armored vehicles. The men who crewed these machines, the tank aces who achieved legendary status, became part of military lore. Their stories passed down through generations and served as a reminder of the courage and sacrifice of those who fought in these steel behemoths. The tanks, once instruments of war, that became symbols of a pivotal moment in human history. They stood as monuments to the technological ingenuity, the strategic brilliance, and the human cost of World War II. Their presence in museums and memorials served as a stark reminder of the destructive power of war. They stood as silent sentinels, urging future generations to learn from the mistakes of the past and strive for a more peaceful future. Despite the end of World War II, the tank remained a vital component of modern armies. The Cold War, a period of geopolitical tension between the United States and the Soviet Union, witnessed a renewed arms race, with tank development at its forefront. The United States developed the M1 Abrams, a technological marvel featuring advanced composite armor, a powerful 120mm smoothbore cannon, and a sophisticated fire control system. The Soviet Union countered with the T-72, a rugged and reliable tank boasting a 125mm 2A46M smoothbore cannon. It became a mainstay of many armies around the world. Tank design continued to evolve, incorporating advances in material science, computer technology, and weapons systems. Modern tanks are highly mobile, heavily armed, and equipped with sophisticated sensors and communication systems. They remain a potent force on the battlefield, capable of delivering decisive firepower and shock action. Though the role of the tank in modern warfare has shifted, while still capable of engaging in direct combat, tanks are now often used in a more supporting role, providing firepower and protection for infantry units. They remain a symbol of military power, a deterrent against aggression, and a vital tool in the defense of nations. The legacy of tank warfare extends far beyond the battlefield. The technological advancements spurred by the development of tanks have had a profound impact on various industries. The internal combustion engine, refined for use in tanks, found widespread application in automobiles and other vehicles. The development of armored plating led to innovations in materials science, with applications in construction, aerospace, and other fields. The sophisticated communication systems and sensors developed for tank warfare have found their way into civilian applications such as GPS navigation and remote sensing. The strategic and tactical lessons learned from tank warfare have also influenced military thinking in other domains. The concepts of combined arms operations, rapid maneuver, and the use of overwhelming force pioneered in tank warfare have become fundamental principles of modern military doctrine. The impact of tank warfare on popular culture is undeniable. From war films and documentaries to video games and model kits, tanks have captured the imagination of generations. They have become iconic symbols of military might, technological prowess, and the enduring fascination with warfare. The history of tank warfare is a testament to human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of military advantage. From the rudimentary tanks of World War I to the sophisticated machines of the modern era, the evolution of tank design has been driven by the need to outmaneuver and overpower the enemy. But it is also a story of human cost. The tank crews, confined within their steel cocoons, faced the horrors of war firsthand. They witnessed the destruction, the death, and the suffering that inevitably accompany armed conflict. The legacy of tank warfare is a reminder of the devastating consequences of war, a cautionary tale against the glorification of violence. As we reflect on the history of tank warfare, we're compelled to confront the complex relationship between technological innovation and the human condition. The pursuit of military superiority has driven remarkable technological advancements, but it has also unleashed unimaginable suffering. The challenge for humanity is to harness the power of innovation for the betterment of society, not for its destruction. But let's remember, we cannot change history, but learn from its mistakes. Thank you for watching this video and hope you enjoyed it. And we will see you next time.